But I would think we would have to get to the bottom of how did these documents, how did it come out? Who was it given to? There's documentation and videotaping of certain individual in this community belonging to a faction stating that he has information and documents of the airport. I think the discussion, if this is a case of national security of semantic, that we need to start there and let the trail follow as we go along. But I don't think, you know, sometimes when we do certain things, Madam Chair, we have to think of the consequences that happens after certain decisions we made. Right now we have, and my colleague said it best, the morale of the airport is down. And if you speak to some of the members at the airport that I've spoke to, they've said, yeah, we are nervous now because we don't know who is leaking this information out. And so we are in a position of paranoia because we don't want to go outside of our scope of work. There are employees now that don't want to do the outside things that they would have normally done or gone the extra mile outside of their job description because they are fearful of what may happen because of information being leaked. And so we have to be responsible as people, as community-minded individuals, when we make certain decisions that it has a far-reaching consequence. Madam Chair, we could sit here all day and speak about a lot of the negative things that have gone on in the airport, but I think it's only fitting, Madam Chair, that for me to leave here in just pointing out some of the things that I know the airport has done. My colleague made mention concerning the issue of Mr. Frankie license that was given out. Was supposed to be given to one of our local sematnons. I too would like to have an answer to that. I would like to go as so far, Madam Chair, as in to ask the new Minister of Economic Affairs responsible from the airport. When you came into office, were there any documentations by your predecessor from the minister before you that showed any documents, any granting, any allowance, any communication where this situation is concerned with the same individual who have requested this license from since the days of Island Council? I think it is only fair, Madam Chair, that when we tend many times to throw a stone and then hide behind a vehicle, or in the biblical term, we like to play too many times Pontius Pilate. If you know the story of Pontius Pilate, when Jesus was being crucified, he said, not me, I ain't getting involved in that. But you were there to save Jesus from being crucified. And so minister before you, they were a minister before you. And I would like to know if that minister before you, or the representative, the shareholder, or whomever was the shareholder at that time, or influenced the shareholder at that time. Is there any documents that you received on your desk when you entered into that same office that showed that there was where this individual is concerned with the airport? If there is, please provide. If there's not, to you, Madam Chair, please inform the public of the matter. Please inform the individual in question if there was anything worked on for him. Because we tend to always want to leave office and then say, man, I couldn't do it for you. This happened, that happened. The other person couldn't do it for you. But we know how this story goes. So in all fairness to you, Minister, to you, Madam Chair, please really provide that information for the good MPs here today. Madam Chair, it is strange enough, and in wrapping up, that all of a sudden a bad light is just thrown at the airport. I say strange because it seemed for a while now, all of the positive things that the airport have been doing for our community. And some of them I get down and the managing director not get down with certain conversations as to why aren't these things publicized, so that the people will know what are the things that the airport are doing for the people of Zimbabwe. Madam Chair, I just want to list a few of the programs. One of the programs, Madam Chair, that I am happy to note, and is a conversation I had with the managing director at one time, is that a scholarship, and this is something that the airport, I hope, will lead and let the other companies, domino companies, lead by example, by giving out scholarships to our people of Zimbabwe, our students, in the area of study that represents that government-owned company. I am happy to know that the airport granted scholarship for a marine biologist for Zimbabwe. I am hoping that every year the airport can grant aviation scholarships for our young students that want to study to be a pilot, that wants to study to be a meteorologist, that wants to study to be an aircraft engineer, that we can have a hope that our people can be able to get that type of opportunity, and also for the other government-owned companies too as well. The airport, no secret, Madam Chair, has been a huge supporter and sponsor of Prince William Alexander. Now, I don't know off the top of my head which government-owned company that I can say, just out of the blue, that is sponsoring a school. I really don't know. If there is, I'm grateful. If they're not, we need to look at it. Most importantly, Madam Chair, just recently the airport launched in its pilot program project, the breakfast program, to be able to feed the needs of the kids in all of these public schools on Zimbabwe. So some of these kids don't have to go to school hungry anymore because their parents can't afford to be able to give them the necessary meals in the morning time. And so as we sit here, Madam Chair, and we realize that it's Christmas coming soon again, for a lot of us that have that Christmas mentality that is before December, that we want to be able to play some of these games. My thing to the airport and to us here as members of Parliament, when we speak in here, always remember that we held the position of some of the questions that we are asking. And second, and lastly, I'll wrap up and finish it. Second and lastly, the question concerning what the airport is going to do concerning the leak, as my colleague mentioned, is very important. And so I thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity. Sorry for the little disruption in the time that it took, but it's all in good faith. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MP Mr. ROUMOU. MP Mr. Johnson, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm extremely second to Minister Richardson, the Managing Director and the Chairperson of the airport, and certainly the rest of the team, those in the public and the media. Madam Shirley, certainly I believe this meeting today may have been called, although it's called for the development at the Princess Juliana Airport. I think it's under the wrong pretext, obviously, because we know, as earlier certain members mentioned, that we are in a political climate. Obviously, it's about, as much as it's mentioned about the people, but we all know that it's about political mileage. I would first like to begin by certainly commending, Madam Chair, to you, Mr. Vega, her team at the airport, and that's the entire team leaders, management, and the entire staff. Because certainly we are well aware, if not, alas, the minister, which is the shareholder representative, tell us and share with us and remind us about some of the awards that Princess Juliana Airport has been receiving lately. And that is important to be reminded of the important role that the Princess Regina Airport plays on our island. Certainly, if the minister can tell us the ranking of Princess Regina Airport. Again, in explaining us, telling us about the ranking, it has to do with a collaborative effort. The leaders as well as the team members who work at the Princess Regina International Airport. I would like for the minister to share with us, in terms of the development at the Princess Regina Airport, on efforts being made to attract additional airlift, whether it's from Europe, whether it's from South America, and or any other interested area that will benefit St. Martin. These are the developments we want to hear about when it comes to the Princess Regina Airport that plays an integral role on this island. Yet, Madam Chair Lady, a certain MP would have you believe that, and talk about the modern airport of the country. And of course, this is not to put anybody under the bus, this will not embarrass anybody. Of course, certain MPs may not have held certain corporate positions. And the moment certain MPs are no longer elected in Parliament, certain MPs have to go back to a 1600 guilder function where they left out. Certain MPs need to have to grandstand and work for the people because that's what we're elected for. But at the end of the day, certain people are well aware that if the same people of St. Martin has hired them, fired them, they go back to that scale B where they belong. And that's going to happen shortly, I believe. Again, why I'm saying this, we talk about why performance reviews, why in the corporate world, there's something that you call performance review, employees review. Employees review is done for the benefit of the company as well as the benefit of the individual. And the reason for that is whether it's an increase in terms of remuneration or whether it's for succession planning, the employee and the employer, the management, that they have an understanding where the interview is done, and it should take time where that employee understands how he or she is performing. But to stand here today in the highest elected body and do as if this is far-fetched that a company like Regina International Airport is conducting employees review. It shouldn't be doing because employees who have worked for 18 years should not be reviewed. What am I hearing? Again, but it tells us about the status of the person who's representing the people here. The people should take note. Send them back to scale 4. Send them back to scale 4. That's where they belong. And yes, some of us have acting degrees and can act. And that's good. Nothing wrong with that. Go back to acting. It is my understanding that an astronomical amount of money, Madam Chair Lady, was owed to the Princess Regina International Airport in terms of accounts receivables prior to the coming on board of Ms. LaVega. I would like the minister to tell us in terms of the accounts receivables owed possibly by the concessionaires or whatever have you, the amount of money that was owed to the Princess Regina Airport. And the reason why I say that is because, again, certain people standing here and say they want to know who owns the concession company and who owns the concession company. Why? Because they would like to have the people believe that no bidding took place. I would like the minister to tell us the process in terms of the bidding from then current to the present concessionaires at Princess Regina Airport. They would want to have us believe that no bidding took place. Again, this is development. At the airport, we want to know these things. Again, with a new vision at the airport, if the minister can explain us and tell us what are the things that Princess Regina International is thinking in terms of the new vision. where we go, we want to know the developments of what's happening at the airport. But Madam President, the relevant question should be asked here to the Minister. Yeah. Is the Minister to tell us about the amount of bus licenses and companies established and certain MPs benefiting directly from that. But we hear these are the MPs that is talking about they can't dance, they dance straight. If the Minister would tell us about these straight dancing MPs, about the licenses and companies, we will know. But I know I diverted, I'll come back to the subject matter. Madam Chairlady, the person from National Alliance that went and air confidential financial information was irresponsible, was rude, and unprofessional. And the French said, where I grew up, we called him a manager V. It was wrong in how it was done. But we know why. That member of the National Alliance is working overtime to be elected. But the people should not be fooled. That member of National Alliance only did that because that member of National Alliance believes that by doing this, he stands a better chance of being elected. But the election day is coming, and we are ready. We are ready. And I'm closing. We're not certain MP will stand here today and tell us that he's a straight dancer. That same MP should tell us, because he's so concerned about the job of our local St. Martiners. But that MP who's a straight dancer, if the people will only be aware how to come to the hotel and tell the sales director how to hire non-national, bring them from Bahamas, how to do it, how to trick the system, and then hide, and then come up and say people the St. Martiners, that's straight dancing MP. That's straight dancing MP. But to come here today and stand in the grandstand that he's for the employees are nervous. I understand the trepidation of some of the employees at the Princess Regina Airport. And rightly so, understanding because of what has happened. But the innocent should not be condemned for the guilty. Any person who's done that, if you're working in an accounting department, especially in an accounting department in any company, you are held to hold information confidential. You will see things for your eyes only. You will hear things for your ears only. And it's not right for companies' issues to be publicized in the way it was. But I believe, yes, the person who may have done it didn't intend for it to take place as it did. But I'm well aware of how National Alliance functions, Madam Chairlady. National Alliance members stand here today and say, like the Pelican employees, that same member and members of National Alliance, what it did, Pelican employees could have had a good deal. Because in negotiation, it's some, you don't win all. You get some and you lose some. But they cause those employees to go to court. And the moment you go to court, you go in the hands of the judge, and the judge is going to give a verdict, and sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. It's 50-50. Whereas in negotiations, you have a chance to direct your destiny. Those members of the National Alliance get those employees to withhold, and those same employees got zilch, I say, zilch from the National Alliance members who sat in government, not for 2 months, not for 5 months, but 12 long months. And what did the members of National Alliance do for the employees of Pelican? I'm going to say to the employees at Princess Regina Airport, don't be fooled. Don't allow any member of National Alliance to stand and to mislead you and take decisions that tomorrow, that if you are not working, you have your children to feed, you need bread on your table, No member of National Alliance is going to come into your support. Be careful. The employees of Pelican is feeling it because of National Alliance. Because of the members of National Alliance. They misled and fooled the employees. They were in government and they did nothing for the employees. Nada. And by the way, Madam Chairlady, when it comes to calling a meeting by the airport for the development of what's happening, I am sitting here and I'm astonished. You know why? Where was the meeting called and when was the meeting called at and for the members of, and for the minister, representative of Julani Airport shareholder to come to Parliament and tell us about the asphalt? How the asphalt left at night? And where did the asphalt go? To benefit who? These are things that the people of St. Martin need to know. But you come in here and say you want to talk about the development of the airport and because employees? No. Tell us as minister, when you was minister, the misdeeds you did and why you did it to benefit a select few. These are things that the people should be aware of. But not to come in here and stand as if you are talking on behalf of the people. No, only misleading the people. And I will rest my case here because, madam, it is wrong what National Alliance is doing. They call the meeting under the false pretext as if they are representing the people, but all along it's about themselves. I thank you, Madam Chairlady.
Thank you, MP Mr. George James. MP Mr. Theodore HEYLIGER. Sorry, I had the wrong list in front of me. There are no other speakers on this list. I look towards the minister and his invited guests and the support staff. We need an hour, half an hour, 1 hour adjournment. I adjourn the meeting for 1 hour. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
That was not intentional. I'm sorry about that. But they like to pick on me too because everybody's phones ring, everybody disturbs somebody. And it wasn't me, it was her, but she keep quiet when it was her. No. He wasn't referring to that. He said Judith Ramon. I'm Judith Ramon. He said, yeah. He said, yeah. I got him on camera saying it. And it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It's like they're jumping on me, but Romaine gonna jump on the right one.
It wasn't me either.
No, and it wasn't me. TV heard. I'm more than catching. I'm more than catching.